think that you're going to become wealthy, financially independent, by sitting around and doing this, you're kidding yourself.
Money doesn't care who you are, doesn't care what you look like, doesn't care about your age, your beauty, or your background. All that money cares about is if you are the master of it or if it is the master of you.
I mean, come on, if money grew on trees, we'd all be outside raking.
We're all lucky. Let me give you an example. You're watching this program right now. Lucky you. There are millions of people in this world that will never have the opportunity to get the information that you're getting right now.
It's so important to understand that you are all you have. You are absolutely the one thing that you can rely on every single day.
And every day is an opportunity. Every day I must commit to taking action.
We're all on a journey of self-discovery. That's what life is. It's a big classroom.
If you stop learning, you stop living.
One way to guarantee your success is to resolve in advance that you will persist until you succeed. And if you make that decision, I can guarantee you that will put you on the side of the angels.
There's little point taking actions, being busy, but going in the wrong direction. Taking actions and going in the right direction will ensure that we do achieve our financial goals.
Inevitably, things will go wrong, but I think the one thing to remember is don't lose sight of the ultimate goal.
I found something that I'm so passionate about and I'm pretty good at. I dedicated my life toward it with the right people, and all the lights turned green. It seems like all the doors started opening.
So if you're watching this video, if you're listening to these stories, literally turn it off if you're not going to take action. If you're not going to take action, push pause, stop, don't waste your time, go do something else with your life. But if you're going to actually watch this and take action, then do it. You are accountable to you and you alone. Take the action necessary to create the life you deserve.
I say do it now, right now, today, right now.
Let's get going.
Hello, my name's Gill Fielding. I'm a millionaire, I'm a wealth creator, a wealth facilitator and a wealth educator. I spend a large part of my time actually making money, but an even larger part of my time discovering the formulas or principles of wealth. Now I know that I understand exactly how to be a millionaire because I have done it, and I know that I can show you exactly what I have done and what I have discovered, so that you too can take the same steps along the same path if you choose to. Before we start, I need to tell you something. I love money. It gives me joy. I think it's funny, sexy, powerful. But so many people think negatively about money. They live in fear or dread or embarrassment at the subject, and that for sure will limit their ability to earn it and to keep it. Now I've created my own riches, I'm passionate about sharing the secrets of wealth and in discovering what other people know about how to create it. So I've consulted with people across the globe, some friends, some peers, but all of them personal heroes.
Peter Thomson, Bruce Music, Ted Nicholas, Brian Tracy, T. Harv Eker, John Spencer Ellis, Frank Maguire, Michael Gerber, Marie Diamond, Topher Morrison, Jonathan Jay, Stuart Goldsmith, Woody Woodward, Laura Tennyson, Dr. John Demartini, Laurel Langmeyer, Kelly Ellis, DC Cordova, Dennis Waitley, Colette Carlson, Dr. Brenda Wade, Greg Scott Reed, John Beale, Gary Goldstein, Cabby Pidwell, Duncan Bannatyne, Marcus de Maria, James Caan and Nicole Brandon.
They have all travelled their own personal wealth journey, a journey repeated by the rich over many years. And when you can see the path, you too can follow.
You will see people getting rich and think they're in the right place at the right time. Well, that's rubbish. All of us are in the right place at the right time.
How did I become so successful? I said yes when I figured out how. Most people wandering around trying to figure out how before they'll say yes. How will come once you've committed.
There's no point being angry, frustrated or annoyed unless we take the time to learn the skills.
And the good news about failure is nothing bad happens.
And I didn't look at it as failure, I looked at it as feedback.
And so failures are part of the process of success.
There is no success without failure.
You will find that there are many very humble, very quiet, wealthy people that have been able to make money at something that they really enjoy, really love, by maintaining their own values. Never deviate from that, and you'll be a much happier person.
Right, let's start at the beginning. I was born here in the upstairs bedroom and in the same room that my father had been 32 years before. My father is a good, honest working man, and yet, like 96% of our population, he retired with insufficient funds. So what is the difference between us? I've always wanted to know. And that quest has taken me across continents, across time, across civilizations, and yet the journey for me started here, in the gutter.
This journey of discovery quickly led me to libraries as well as to the back rooms of dusty bookshops as I tried to find out what it was that made the rich different from the rest. I went back into history and researched into our wealthy and abundant ancestors. I started to look at ancient civilizations. I became intrigued. What did the Romans know? The Babylonians? The Greeks?
There are common themes that we can learn. There are fundamental principles to wealth. There are things that the wealthy people know and do that the rest of the world doesn't. And they are simple laws. They are easy to understand and easy to implement. They are not taught in schools, although they should be. They are principles handed down from one wealthy person to another, and these principles emerge out of the mist for everybody at some stage in their lives, and some people see them and some people don't.
One of my favorite definitions of wealth is what you have left when you've lost all your money. So wealth is different from money, where money is temporary and it's just a piece of paper with ink printed on it. Your wealth is your network, your resources, your track record, your passions, your talents, your skill sets.
If you are going to be successful, you have got to follow what's in your heart. You've got to stop listening to the noise around you and go inside. Go internal, discover for yourself what makes you successful, and then put all your energy at that. When you do that, you will have all the success you've always wanted.
Focus on what you want, not on what you don't want, because you will attract what you focus on. Most people spend all their waking hours and most of their sleeping hours focusing on what they don't want, focusing on their fears, focusing on their problems. And what happens? Their whole life is about fear and problems. Is that the way you want your life?
So if you want to create a lot of money in your life, put your focus on becoming wealthy, creating a network, creating resources, getting your talents out there in the world, building a track record, and the money will follow.
Before I take us back to the ancient world to discover what they knew about creating riches, I've stopped off here in Paris to consider the issue of mindset.
And since everything that has ever been created or invented by a human was first in imagined thought, it's very important to control your thoughts in the direction of the desired result.
So I would say the number one thing is the way that you think and have a relationship towards money.
I think anybody can be wealthy, because if I take myself as an example, I had no real background that would have been an obvious characteristic for either success or wealth. Having started with nothing and leaving school at the age of 16 probably qualifies me as somebody who probably had less than nothing.
And if we look at our modern world and any list of the richest people in it, we find that the majority, and it's about 3/4 of them, are actually self-made. So they did it from the bottom or the gutter up. So we have evidence that wealth is a possibility for all.
So to keep building a positive mindset, it's important to remember these vital facts.
We all have a right to wealth. We all have equal access to the opportunities of wealth. And for most of us, thank goodness, we are at liberty to grasp them.
we have a relationship with money. As much as we have a relationship with ourselves, with other people, with life, and the relationship with money reflects our relationship with ourselves.
So why do some people become rich and not others when they come from the same backgrounds and the same opportunities? This is one of those questions that have been posed since the earliest of time. And what we found is the value that somebody has instilled inside themselves. When someone has an innate ability to be able to see the value of who they are, then they're able to capitalize on that, and they'll be able to grow that and be able to make more money and be able to have more of everything that they've ever wanted.
How you speak about money, how you think about money, and how you feel about money is very, very important because it is a relationship. And if you were to speak and think and talk to a person that way, or any other relationship in your life, the way most people talk about money, they would really start to understand maybe why more of it isn't coming to them.
So how is your money blueprint formed? Very simple. By the conditioning from when you were young, what you heard when you were young, what you saw when you were young, and what you experienced from when you were young.
But the way that you know that you have an opportunity to grow is you begin to see patterns in your life. As much as we want to deny the patterns, every time you turn around, you're in the same kind of relationship, or you're making the same kinds of moves with your money. You're always in debt, or you're always looking for the next paycheck, living paycheck to paycheck.
The good news is this: your money blueprint can be changed.
And when you see a pattern, don't say, oh God, why does that always happen to me? Ask yourself, what in me needs change and transformation? How can I grow?
Most people ask themselves why. Why don't I have any money? Why isn't this working, or what have you? But if you stop and ask yourself, what is it that I believe about money? What is it that I heard my parents say about it? What is it that I think about it today? What is getting in my way of me having more of it? Things like that. What questions are very, very powerful to the subconscious?
The number one key to success is your mind.
The main reason why most people never become rich is they never choose it. They never choose a new team. They never choose to really go make new money. They don't set their life up, I call it corporate life. They never set themselves up to really live corporate wealthy life. And there's a way that the wealthy have done it for generations and generations. And it's really a matter of choice and lifestyle and the frame of mind and making that happen for themselves.
Winners dwell on the desired result. Losers dwell on the penalty of failure.
If someone tells you that you can't do something, 17 more people have to come along and tell you that in fact you can, for you to reverse that one negative statement.
You have to fake it before you can make it. I know that might sound kind of crazy, but you need to trick your mind. You need to fool your mind into being successful, because all success starts here first. Nothing has ever been created first physically before it was created spiritually. So you got to create it in your mind. You got to go out there, act successful, dress successful, look successful, be successful, and inadvertently you will become successful.
You think like rich people, you get like rich people. You think like broke people, you get to have what broke people have. This is very simple here.
Now, I'm not talking about faking it so the Joneses see what you have. I'm talking about down and dirty in your mind, teaching yourself that you are successful first. When you do that, it will naturally come to you.
I've been through periods in my life where I've started to doubt myself, and that's a very, very dangerous thing to do, because when you start to doubt yourself, you start making the decisions based around fear and scarcity and anxiety.
So you have to condition yourself repetitively, again and again and again, with the right words, the right feelings, the right emotions, at the right time, over a long period of time, to condition yourself to believe that anything is possible.
I used to watch a videotape of a personal development speaker, and I used to watch it again and again and again, and he was saying, believe in yourself, you can do this, believe in yourself, you can do it. And I watched the television set so many times that I started to believe that he was speaking to me, and I started to hear the words and know what was going to be said next, and I could repeat this in my mind even when the television wasn't switched on, and it became part of me, and it built my self-belief.
Repetition is key. And not just repetition by itself, but repetition with the right materials, the right emotions, and the right thoughts.
And when you build your self-belief, you start to believe that you're unstoppable. And when you become unstoppable, then you start making decisions based around having confidence in yourself.
Well, the fastest way I know to build a wealthy mindset is to hang around with other wealthy people. And the easiest way to do this is to get yourself into some kind of mentoring program or find yourself a mentor of some kind. Somebody who's already done what it is that you're wanting to do, and notice how they think. And if you hang around them for long enough, their mindset will be transferred into yours.
At the end of the day, I believe that we are exactly where we choose to be. And if we don't like our circumstances, it's up to us to do something about it. Therefore, I believe for myself, I'm exactly where I was meant to be because it's exactly where I chose to be.
And before we leave Paris, let's talk about liberty. Because the Statue of Liberty that we know in New York Harbour was a gift from the French people to the Americans, and there are 2 other versions here in Paris, as a constant reminder that the 18th century revolutionaries here in France, and all others like them across the globe, fight for the liberty of the common man, and we owe it to them to grasp that liberty whenever we can.
Every individual lives by a set of values, a set of priorities, a hierarchy of values, things that are most important to least important. Whatever's highest on a person's value is where they're disciplined, reliable, and they're focused. And they bring order and organization to that, and nobody has to get them up in the morning to do it. They're inspired from within to do that. In fact, they identify themselves by that. Their mission revolves around that. But as they go down the list of priorities and values in their life, they tend to procrastinate, hesitate, frustrate, they have disorder, disorganization, they tend to not do things.
You know, I've always been fascinated by goal setting and motivation, and I discovered something. It's this. Away motivation is the catalyst for action. You move away from pain, from poverty. Towards motivation is the continuation of action, because goals are magnetic. You'll move towards wealth and towards pleasure. Make sure you set your goals.
Most people don't have savings because they're in things that are tension relieving instead of goal achieving. In other words, they need to escape on the weekends and in the evenings from the goals they never set. That's why they watch other people making money having fun in prime time. Winners live in prime time. Losers watch others making money in prime time.
So if you really want to build wealth, you have to have a real value on it. When the why is big enough, the hows take care of themselves. So what I tell people to do is write 1,000 benefits and reasons why they would love to build fortune and build wealth and save money. Not 1,000 reasons of what they're going to do with the money and spending it, but 1,000 reasons of why they want to build money, build wealth, build a fortune. Because if they don't have a big enough reason for doing it, they'll procrastinate, hesitate, and won't follow the strategies to completion.
You know, for me, creating a wealth mindset wasn't easy in the beginning. You know, I didn't come from a wealthy family. I didn't come from a starving one either. I was in a very comfortable middle-class family. And for me, getting into a level outside of that was a bit of a challenge.
Listen, if you want to have a happy life, if you want to have a successful life, focus on what you want. Put your attention on what you want, not on what you don't want, and that's what you will attract.
And what I did is I turned to the power of the subconscious mind by learning to program my unconscious mind in the ideas of wealth. This began by affirmations of wealth, by creating vivid images in my mind of the amount of wealth that I wanted to create in my life, having a clear vision on a consistent basis for what level of wealth I deserved and which ones I was committed to making.
If you want to stay focused on building wealth, you have to have truly an appreciation of yourself, an appreciation of wealth building, and it has to be in your top 5 values from my research. And once you do, you will see opportunities, you'll act upon opportunities, and you'll develop the wealth that you desire.
And when you've got the confidence, when you have the self-belief, then you truly become absolutely unstoppable.
All great achievers set goals, and here's the reason why. Goals are magnetic. And once you've set that goal down, you've written it out, you've signed it, and you start to get the feelings of achieving it, it pulls you closer. Make certain you set your goals down in writing so you can audit them on a regular basis and keep yourself on track towards their attainment.
Now we've looked at the important issues of our emotional relationship with money, together with the development of a positive mindset, we can now continue our journey of discovery with a practical lesson from the ancients. And we're going to start here because the Babylonians were some of the first people to display their wealth in a flamboyant way to the world. And not only did Babylon itself surpass the splendour of any other city at the time, it was also here that the Hanging Gardens were built, out there in the desert. About the size of a football field, the gardens were a financially flamboyant gesture of devotion from King Nebuchadnezzar to his wife. Built in about 550 BC, the gardens were artificially irrigated using water pumped up from the Euphrates River. The gardens were an amazing sight and an amazing statement of the Babylonians' pride and enjoyment in their opulence and riches. It is extraordinary that such a feat was ever achieved, and I'm full of admiration for a race of people who cherish their wealth and revel joyously in their riches, as the Babylonians clearly did. The people at the time had learnt and understood fundamental wealth principle number 1, which is this: control of income and expenditure. Actual coinage had begun to replace the system of barter that had been used before, and the local farmers and traders knew this. However many coins you put in the purse, one less must come out, always ensuring that there's one coin left over for the future. This is the first and most obvious secret of wealth. You don't need to be a genius to understand it, but if you don't actually do it, you will never, that's right, you'll never be wealthy.
Anyone who wants to control the flow of their money has got to have an iron grip control on their inputs and outputs. They've got to know how much is coming in, and they've got to know how much is going out. If you don't know that, you're not in control of your money.
That's the key. If you don't have it, you don't spend it.
When a person pays themselves first, that means when they receive income from their services that they've rendered, that the very first thing they do is they put some of that into savings. Now, if you do that and you write a check to put it into a savings account or some investment account, you might emotionalize that and you might end up interfering with that. So the wisest thing to do is have it electronically transferred right into an investment account before you pay any other bills, the very beginning of the month. The second the money comes in, it goes right into savings. The moment you value you and pay yourself first is the moment that you attract more money to your life. When you manage money wisely, you receive more money to manage.
Parkinson's law, which comes from the work of C. Northcote Parkinson, a British bureaucrat, says that expenses always rise to meet income. No matter how much you make, you spend that amount and sometimes a little bit more besides on credit cards and loans. So the key to success is what I say is break Parkinson's law. What that means, spend less than you earn and save and invest the balance.
We've all seen the character, that cartoon character, where he's standing against a wall or it's a dam and the water starts coming out and one water shoots out one hole and then he puts his finger in and plugs it and then plugs it in another hole, and lo and behold the water starts coming out and he's stretched all the way. What happens is, that's the same with your finances. You get stretched so much that eventually that dam breaks, the flood comes in, you have to control your money. When you control your money will no longer control you.
So one of the most common reasons people don't save and don't invest is because saving and investing isn't high on their value list. They value watching television more than they value saving and investing. They value spending money more than they value saving and investing. So until you can value saving and investing more than all the other things you're currently spending your money on, you'll never get around to saving and investing.
If you will save 10% or more of your income on a regular basis, invest it carefully and let it grow, then over time you will become financially independent. As you earn more money as your life goes on, save more and more of your increased income until you hit your magic number.
I had the opportunity to consult with a doctor who made $6.9 million in a year. And at the end of the year, he came to me for consulting and said, look, I'm in a financial bind. I'm having to borrow $327,000 to pay my taxes. And I explained to him that even though he has a vast fortune coming in, because $6.29 million is a great income to any doctor, and even though he has that coming in, if he doesn't manage it wisely, he's got nothing to stay. So as a result of it, he doesn't have a value on saving money. He had a value on having a nice house. He had a value on nice furniture, nice art, nice parties, nice clothes, nice transport. He had a value on everything else except saving and investing his money and paying his taxes. So it doesn't matter how much money you make, it has everything to do with how you manage what you make, and the way you manage what you make is based on your values. So if you don't value saving money and investing in building a fortune, and you don't value you, it won't stay with you. You have to value money, you have to value you, and you have to put it high enough on the values that you pay yourself first. This is one of the greatest secrets of building wealth. And what's interesting is, the lady that worked for him, a secretary, who was making $2,000 a month, $24,000 a year, saving $400 a month, 20% of it, was closer to financial independence than he was going to be, even though he's making $6.29 million. Again, it's not how much you make, it's how you manage what you make, and your hierarchy of values dictate how you manage your money. The hierarchy of your values dictates your financial destiny.
If you don't pay the future first, the future will disconnect from you.
So another way of looking at this is this. Imagine you're earning $30,000, somebody else is earning $300,000. Who's going to be better off at the end of their life? Well, you'd think it was the $300,000 person. Not at all. It's the person that saves and invests the most. And that could be you at $30,000.
You know, this explains why some people can make seemingly very little money but have a wonderful life because they control their expenditures, therefore harness their flow, where others don't control their expenditures and they have no control over the flow and they never have enough money left over at the end of the month.
You always need to control your expenses. I know people who have gone into business, bought brand new cars on HP, had an expensive lifestyle before the business has made the money, and they've failed. Always look after your money, make sure you count the pennies, and start worrying about spending it after you've made it.
Controlling the flow of money comes down to one simple thing, and that is that you don't want to run out of month at the end of your money.
I started life with a very simple piece of paper that had a line down the middle. On the left-hand side, it was how much sales we'd made, and on the right-hand side, it's how much costs we had. And on a weekly basis, just like you would manage your kind of domestic expenditure, that's really how I started. And interesting enough, today, 25 years later, although the management accounts pack is a lot more thicker, but the fundamentals haven't really changed.
If controlling your money is difficult, here's a simple thing to do. Pay all your bills first, take whatever money you have left, take 10% out, save it. Take the rest of that money, divide it by 4, so 4 weeks in a month, take all that money into cash, put it in an envelope, at the beginning of every week, pull out that envelope, that's all you can spend. By the end of the month, you've never spent more than you had, and you always have that 10% left over.
Yeah, I control the flow of money like I control the flow of anything in and out of my house, is careful watch. I'm a single mother of 2 daughters, and so, you know, there's always something that they need, there's always something they want, there's always something around the corner, education, food, parties, clothes, you name it. And so I personally control the flow of money in and out pretty diligently. You really have to watch what's coming in, actually what you really do spend. I keep a journal. And I'm really, really careful about what it is that we are spending and not spending. Is this necessary? Is it not?
But there is a science to dealing with money that's on the ground. It's practical. You've got to sit down with pen and paper in hand, and you've got to track it. What am I spending? Why am I spending it? How much do I have? And I don't use the word budget because that gets us into all kinds of feelings of deprivation and scarcity. I use the word spending plan.
Do we really need that? It's probably the first question that we always ask ourselves. Do we really need to have something? And when you get down to it, our needs and desires are very different than what we really need to survive. So those are some key things. Is something we need or something we want? Do we have the budget for it? Don't we have the budget for it? You have to really think about it, be personal about it, and keep that journal.
I'm very much in favor of long-term vision, strategic, consistent, focusing on building wealth, because this is the one that I've seen most consistently leave the results called fortunes.
This basic and essential understanding of control of income and expenditure and the resultant cash flow is vital to any understanding of the accumulation of wealth. And furthermore, we now know that we need to get as much coming in and as little as possible going out in order to be truly wealthy. The first secret is easy if you just spend less than you earn. So work out what you earn and what you spend each month. Then, if you increase your earnings by just 1% per month and reduce your expenses by 1% per month, at the end of the year you'll have an incredible 22% of your current earnings left over for investment. And then you're up and running. So now you have a coin left in your purse at the end of the day. What do you do with it? And that takes us on to principle number 2, because the super rich have always understood that this is a wealth seed. And the more of these you plant or invest, the more secure your financial future will be. And if you plant enough seeds in enough places, you will have riches for today, for tomorrow, next year, and every year into yours and your children's future. So I'm here at the Roman city of Carthage because the Romans understood that principle well. And if we look at any list of the world's richest people ever, there are still plenty of Romans on it. One of those was Marcus Crassus, and he was a financial and political supporter of a young and poor Julius Caesar. Crassus's wealth came from many areas, and he was a true entrepreneur and businessman. He died in 53 BC with a wealth in today's terms of approximately $170 billion, earned from rental properties and a variety of businesses, including mining and exploration. What Crassus and other wealthy Romans knew was that you have to explore beyond your normal environment and plant wealth seeds in a variety of places.
Plant the seeds. I love this idea because the reality is that just like a tree has to grow from its roots and its seeds, same thing happens with your money.
Albert Einstein once said that compounding interest is the greatest mathematical discovery of all time. Now, I'm not as smart as Einstein, but I'm smart enough to know that if he says it's a good idea, there's got to be something behind it.
Now, this is very simple. You have to understand simple arithmetic here. And what it is that if you take $1 and you spend it today, you believe you're spending $1. But in reality, if you could take that $1 and make it grow to say $5 or $10 or $50 or $100, then in reality, if you spend that $1 today, you're actually spending $100 of tomorrow's money.
When you invest your money, you earn interest on your capital. And then the second year, you earn interest on the capital and the interest. On the third year, you earn interest on the capital and the interest of the interest. And it's like a snowball rolling downhill. You don't have to have a big snowball to start with. The thing is, you have to start rolling the snowball.
Now, again, the idea is to become financially free. The idea is to achieve wealth. And the only way you can do that is by saving some of the money that you earn and then planting it as seeds to grow so that you can have the fruits of those trees later on and pick them nice and easy and relax and enjoy your life.
Some seeds may wither and fail, but many succeed and prosper. Some seeds grow slowly and some grow quickly. But as long as they all grow, they all contribute to your greater wealth. Furthermore, if we can invest those wealth seeds into a compounding environment whereby all income generated immediately gets reinvested to generate more income, then that becomes a truly valuable wealth seed.
The people who have them work their lives for money become its slave. The people that have money working for them become its master. So you want to make sure that you begin a savings and investment program to have it start to work for you. And in addition to having the benefits of compound interest, as you save money, you attract opportunities, new ideas, new associations. You have better quality clients. You stabilize your business. You have more certainty in your life, and whoever has the most certainty attracts the most wealth in life. So once you start a savings and paying yourself first, amazing things start to happen to build wealth for your future.
You know, if you want to harness the power of compound interest, two things very important. Number one, start small. Small investments lead to big results in the long run. Number two, start early. And realize that if you didn't start early, you know what? Better late than never. But the earlier you start, the more money you're going to have in the long run.
You know, it's a great idea to plant seeds for the future. But remember the farmer. He plants thousands of seeds, and only some of them come up into strong, healthy plants.
One way for you to plant seeds is for you to do something every day, at least 5 things that will bring you income in the future. It could be in the foreseeable future, or it could be in the long-term future. But today, do at least 5 things. That could be an email, a phone call, talking to a stranger, working on a project, working on a proposal, doing something that is going to be an income-generating activity. And that will make sure that you have money in the future and you're planting seeds for your wealth.
Get a lot of ideas out there. Get a lot of projects starting. And then some of them will grow into the strong, healthy plants, which will guarantee your financial future.
For us today, we can learn the lesson. Money hidden under the bed or in the biscuit tin will never grow. And whilst it feels scary to hand over our cash to another, it has to be done in order to generate returns. What you must do, however, is research the investment and evaluate the returns you can be confident of expecting. Some investments are riskier than others, and you must start with the lowest or safest risk. But eventually you need to learn to cope with the biggest risk, because that is where you'll get the biggest return. So plant lots of small seeds, plant them in different places and at different risk levels. But seeds are, by definition, small things. So plant as many as you can, as often as you can, and in a compounding environment for safe and secure wealth accumulation. Look, planting seeds really works. Just £1 or $1 a day turns into $1 million over 56 years if invested at a 10% return. So the easiest way to become a millionaire is to start early. Find $1 a day and invest it. Easy. If it's too late for you to start early, then start late. But make sure that you receive a higher return on your money, or just invest more. For our next principle, we need to go up a gear, because what we now need to consider is gearing or leverage or borrowing of other people's money. Sadly, we will never be wealthy purely on what you just earn and save. There isn't enough time to make a significant difference there. But what the super wealthy have always understood is that they can use other people's money on their own wealth projects. Back in London at one of the city's oldest coaching inns and coffee houses. And it's in coffee houses like this that our banking system and our stock market began in the late 17th and early 18th century. Traders would come to the table or bench and bank their proposition for others to take. It's here that businesses were first traded, and it's here that money was first loaned and borrowed.
If you're building a business, you're going to borrow money. So when you borrow money, you have to repay it. So you have to make sure you budget and ensure you can make the repayments in years to come. Not just pretend you can make them. Actually look at your budget, look at your business plan, and make sure it works.
Raising money or raising debt is actually a very fundamental part of growing a business. I suppose for me, the secret has always been, it's okay to borrow money as long as you never forget that you do actually have to pay it back.
Choose wisely.
And you don't incur debt for non-appreciating assets. You are, first and foremost, your most appreciative asset.
If there is anything such as good debt, and I say that with mixed emotions, the only good debt there is if that debt is going to produce income for you. Or, for example, if you're going into the property, if you're investing in property and the person who's renting the property is paying your amortization on the debt, plus you're making a profit or at least breaking even, that could be argued that that's good debt. But that is the only exception.
I'm the youngest of 5 children, lived in hand-me-downs all my life, and as a result, I grew up with that ethos that you work hard, but you don't spend hard.
Now, there's a big difference between what I call consumer debt and investment debt. Consumer debt is for that unnecessary or petty purchase, such as the sparkly shoes. Investment debt is something quite different.
Too many of us, women in particular, feel the need to go out and have retail therapy for some instant gratification. I mean, come on, ladies, how many pairs of black pumps do you really need when you're still renting versus owning your own home?
I have used debt inappropriately. I've used credit cards inappropriately. When I was not conscious, I did not have a plan. I didn't know what my monthly overhead was. And I was sort of irrationally or blindly accumulating debt, either through loans or credit cards, what have you.
Break that need to mount more debt, because if you've been in debt, you know there's a feeling of guilt associated with the debt. I feel guilty because I'm in debt. I'm ashamed. I can't tell anybody I'm in debt. Oh, for God's sake, if anyone finds out I owe that much money, what will they think of me? What will they do to me? Because there's that debt. And it's like this dark cloud hanging over our heads if we're in debt.
A great metaphor for paying off your debts is this. Just imagine you've got several, let's say, credit cards, for example, and one of them you have to pay quite a large amount of in terms of percentage, and another one a little bit smaller, and another one very small. Imagine focusing all your energy just like an army. So you get the howitzers in, you get the front people going in, you get the helicopters in, all focusing on the big one, the one that you have to pay the most on, and you just blast that one, and it reduces faster and faster and faster and faster. Then you now suddenly have got all of these resources, and you start, you call in, you say, helicopters, we're now going into the second one, the second highest paying one, and in you go, and the army goes in, and the navy goes in, and you just blast it to pieces. So the first one is the one which costs you the most, because they've got you on the highest rate, then the second highest rate, and then the third highest rate, and you just blast it. Get rid of debt.
I'm a firm believer that you don't raise your lifestyle unless you raise your savings and investments by the same amount. That's been the policy for many years for me. So every time I want to raise my lifestyle, I just ask, will I be willing to raise my savings and investments that same amount? If I do, I've earned the right to do it. I also must be able to pay my taxes that same amount. So if I want to raise my lifestyle, say $5,000 a month, or $1,000 or $10,000 or $100,000 a month, I've got to be willing to put that much into savings and that much into taxes at the same time.
Well, you know, you think you have to use your judgment on this thing. You have to go into debt sometime in order to generate a profit in the future.
I'm a person that I hate debt. I absolutely hate debt, and I hate interest. So the day I was free was when I was free of car payments and mortgage payments and debt. But when I started, I had $800. So the only way that I could start that first business at age 21 was a candy and ice cream parlor business called Peterson's House of Fudge. The only way that I could do it was through debt.
Fortunately for me, you know, I have quite a lot of debt across my entire portfolio, but I have been very sensitive to ensure that I've got a level of debt that is sustainable within the business situations that I'm involved with. So to summarize, it's okay to have debt, but remember, you do have to pay it back.
When borrowing money, here are the 2 most important things to remember.
Always make sure that you can make all payments on time and that you have a contingency plan just in case. And then when you are certain and safe, gear up and use other people's money to create your riches. Debt is easy to manage if you know how. So, for example, if you have a standard mortgage of $100,000 at 6% and you can manage to overpay by $100 a month, you will reduce your mortgage by a massive $27,000 and knock 6 years off the life of it. So don't hide from debt, just understand it and get control of it. The next principle is opportunism, and by that I mean the ability to see every opportunity that comes our way and to grab the ones that you want, because there are opportunities whizzing past our noses every day of the week, and most people just don't see them, but they certainly did here in Ellis Island. The famous poem says, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shore. Send these, the homeless tempest-tossed to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." In America at the turn of the 20th century, when many millions arrived just here, the nation knew that their opportunity was to grasp the opportunism of the world's displaced population. And it was a mindset thing. For the many millions arriving here in the early 1900s, they believed that this was the land of opportunity. They were ready to grasp their chance of freedom and of riches. And boy, did they do that well.
Opportunism. I love this one because this is what really separates people who create wealth from people who never become successful. What are you looking for? What are you willing to take advantage of? What actions will you take when you see that light? Light is all around you. Very, very simply put, rich people focus on opportunities. What do most other people focus on? They focus on obstacles. Rich people think, what can we do with this? Most other people think, oh my God, what could go wrong with this? So how are you thinking? That is absolutely critical.
If you talk to anybody who's wealthy, I mean super wealthy, they're all going to be able to tell you that there were critical moments in their life where they were lucky. Are wealthy people lucky? No doubt about it. But it's not the luck that made them wealthy. It's the way they responded to that luck. We're all lucky. Let me give you an example. You're watching this program right now. Lucky you. There are millions of people in this world that will never have the opportunity to get the information that you're getting right now. But how are you going to respond to this information? That's your luck, and it's how you respond to it that's going to make a difference. You see, wealthy people respond to lucky environments because of their education, their certainty, and their self-confidence.
You can learn to be lucky. I think you can look for opportunities that other people don't see, opportunities that pass other people by, you can grab hold of and make the most of. So I consider myself a very, very lucky person. I'm always in the right place at the right time. And you start off with that mindset, then you can't help but be lucky.
One of the easiest ways to spot opportunities in your life, look around. See, the problem is most people don't want to look around because they're living a lie. They're in debt. They're trying to put on this facade of living a life that they're not really experiencing, and they don't want to look around at what's really going on. Well, here's the thing. Opportunities lie in reality, not denial. One of the reasons people don't spot the opportunities is because they're not looking at the reality, because that's where they're at.
I think spotting opportunity is a learned skill. I think part of it is learning not to view the world as right and wrong, not to go into an environment with judgment, not to assume what the outcome should look like, but to be open and to be wise enough to really listen and use your gut, use your mind and your heart and your gut to assess, does this feel like a unexpected opportunity? Is this something I wasn't anticipating but feels correct? And then discuss it with your mentors, with your mastermind group, with yourself. But I think that opportunity is something you come to recognize and appreciate more with time.
How can you make sure you grasp opportunities as they come by? Isn't that what they say, to reach for the brass ring? So being able to step into opportunity is the most important key note here. So what happens is if you smell coffee in the morning and you wake up and your body perks up and it's all excited, or you smell pizza or favorite food, there's something in you that's drawn to that. It's the same way for an opportunity. When we sense something, there's all of our senses are awakened to it, and we're ready to have that thing. So being aware of those feelings, being awakened to what's happening, to your aliveness, to your joy, to your passion, to your enthusiasm, to that thought, stepping into that the minute it happens is going to change your life, your finances, and your wealth forever.
So once you've made the choice to begin spotting opportunities, you'll begin to notice them everywhere. So how do you determine which ones to take? Well, here's a little tip that I use. When an opportunity comes along and it gives me gooseflesh, or I get shivers down my spine, I take that as an indication that that's a good opportunity to check out. It doesn't necessarily mean it'll always be the right one, but check out the ones that give you gooseflesh. The way I look at it, that's your mind's indication that you're on the right path.
Why is it important to set goals? Well, statistics prove that people that actually set goals and write them down, not just have goals, but actually write them so they can see them, have far more success in achieving all that they dream and envision and desire.
So why is it so important to set goals? Well, your mind is a little bit like a GPS that you'd have in your car. If you're sitting in your car and you don't punch in a destination into your GPS, it can't direct you to where you want to go. It can't give you feedback. It can't tell you to turn left and turn right. Your mind works in the same way. Until you give your mind a target, it doesn't know whether you're on course or whether you're off course. So it can't give you feedback and you won't be able to move forward towards your goals. So make sure you set your goals and give your mind a target to aim for, and you'll find the chances of getting there are a whole lot higher.
So the word goal has a G-O-A-L-S in it. So the G would be telling you to go for it, to generate income. The O is your openness to receive all the wealth on the planet. The A, of course, is to acknowledge what it is that you want and what you're shooting for. Your L gives you the leverage to get it. And the S is your success. Set goals.
The best way to spot opportunities is to look for problems. And instead of looking at the problem as a problem, look at it as something requiring a solution. Because people will always invest in something that saves them time and money and gives them more quality of life.
When looking for opportunity, one of the things that I do is when I read newspapers, magazines, watch television shows, which contrary to a lot of people are always putting down television, I think you can learn a lot by watching what's going on if it's covering cultural events, is how I can turn some activity, some situation into a business. And I continually do this, and I never watch anything, listen to anything, read anything unless I have my notebook, a paper and pencil in my hand. The other thing I do to extend that concept one step further is if I were writing a headline to create interest in this idea, in this business, I write a few headlines. So this is just a daily practice that I do. Anybody watching can do this. And it's just simply doesn't cost you anything. And it's amazing because you'll come up with ideas that can be turned into great businesses.
You have to learn it. It is a learned behavior. I have a friend, a little story, who she was working as a marketing agent and doing other things, and she was okay. She kind of liked what she did, but she wasn't marketing products that she loved. She knew marketing, but she wasn't focused on what she really enjoyed. And that was actually her family and her children. So as she's spending time with her kids, she invented a cup holder that hangs off the stroller. Well, there you go. So she actually saw the opportunity to market the product that she came up with and became multi-millionaire and happy and successful and balancing the time with her family and her career. Those are the opportunities. Those are the aha moments. You know, the gut feeling that you get when you think, gosh, that would be a great idea. You can't be afraid. You can't be afraid to see that opportunity, something that strikes you, that gut feeling really is saying something to you.
I have a little secret that I teach my own students when it comes to business. And very simply this, you have to understand that in business, all you're about is one thing, solving problems for people at a profit. So the definition of an entrepreneur, or even a person in a job, is a person who solves problems for people at a profit. So what are you? You're a problem solver. Would you like to know the simplest and easiest way to find millions and millions and millions of opportunities? Very simple. Instead of looking for opportunities, look for problems. Because on the other side of every single problem is what? An opportunity. And all you do is solve that problem, and you solve it for enough people, and you solve it with quality, and guess what? The end result is riches.
If you're in a 9-to-5 job, just plodding along, you will see people getting rich and think they're in the right place at the right time. Well, that's rubbish. All of us are in the right place at the right time. More than once in their lives, there are loads of opportunities passing you by. Just look for them. You will find them. I promise everyone has opportunity. Everyone can make it.
So opportunism is about two things. It's about having the mind ready and alert to spot the opportunity and to grab it when it comes. And this involves preparation, education, awareness of yourself, your own skills, and your local wealth environment.
I've just been talking to an audience of entrepreneurs, and I've been saying to them that the most important thing you can do is invest in yourself. Sure, you invest in your business, invest in your staff, and invest in all of your business systems. However, the work that you do in yourself is the work that shows the greatest returns. Because if you don't work in yourself, how can anything else work?
A taxi driver once told me a great story about a young man who was having lessons from a golf professional. The young man was spraying the balls all over the place and got so angry, cursing out loud. The golf professional turned round to him and said, "You're not good enough to be that angry." And so it is with our money. There's no point being angry, frustrated or annoyed unless we take the time to learn the skills.
So I advise any of you who are watching today to get in there and study, and don't assume you know it all, because you don't. You're learning every day.
And I'm constantly going on courses, I'm constantly learning from people who know more than I do, and the biggest mistake anyone can make is believing that they are the smartest person in the room, because you never are.
There's a thing I've spotted about successful people, and they've either had great mentors or they have a life coach or a business coach that they can bounce ideas off from time to time and keep themselves on track.
Mentoring can be a moment spent with someone in a valuable private conversation. Mentoring can be a formal relationship. It can take place as coaching and consulting.
If you stop learning, you stop living. Life is about learning. Life is a journey that never stops in terms of input and opportunity. One of the greatest joys in life is learning.
There's always someone who knows more about something than we do. And what we have to do is seek out that person, ask their advice, ask them to mentor us, ask them to give us a few tips to point us in the right direction. And you know something? When that happens, we have the key to the door. You put the key in the door, you turn the key, the door opens, and the other side of the door is everything we could possibly want in our life. The riches are just behind the door. All we have to do is find the key.
I believe luck is what happens when the prepared mind meets an opportunity going by. So get yourself ready and grab one for yourself today. So let's say there are 100 opportunities crossing your path each week, but you only see 1 in 10 of those. So you try those, but only 1 in 10 are successful. That would still mean 52 successful opportunities each year. And say those opportunities only make 10 grand a year each. You will still have made over $1 million in 2 years. So what are you waiting for? Keep your eyes peeled and your mind open. This modern metropolis represents all that is great about balance and diversity, because our next principle involves just that. Wealthy, we need to discover more than one thing. In order to protect ourselves and our wealth, we need to spread the risk.
Ideally, this comes from investing in three main areas: businesses, land and property, and shares or equities. Trading in equities or shares can involve a variety of strategies, for example buy and hold, day trading, or even options trading. Whereas investing in land and property can be anything from that small rental apartment to a massive development. Some strategies generate small amounts of regular income and some generate larger amounts of capital, but all are great. And even within those three broad categories of property, equities and business, we can have diversity. So a business may be an internet business, a business which is service-based like providing training, or a business with a tangible product like selling shoes. Of course, the super rich understand to combine strategies, so they trade shares or sell their goods from buildings that they also own, because the mega rich understand the concepts of balance and diversity and combinations of wealth.
I believe that just like when you're doing stocks, it's wise to diversify. I do believe it's wise to diversify, but not outside your level of understanding. Because you can scatter yourself and distract yourself and have fantasies of getting rich quick instead of strategically staying with a project until you build the fortune. So I'm a firm believer in making sure that you look and be honest with yourself and be truly self-reflective on whether or not you can handle multiple or need to be focused on one. That's up to you.
The advice that I would give anyone is not one rule sorts all. So, should you invest maybe in property? Absolutely. Could you invest in equities? Yes, you can. Could it be art? The answer is I think it could be anything.
So multiple streams of revenue can happen episodically, continuously, on some sort of continuity program, but it's essential that you have multiple streams of income. Here's what I can tell you. Everyone that I know who is very successful and very wealthy, they all have multiple streams of income.
We can also make sure that we plant a wealth seed in all countries, all cultures and all economies. We can even make sure that we plant a wealth seed in each part of the economy. So even if the larger or macro economy is having a tough time, then there will be some part of the smaller or micro economy that is booming. If times are tough at this macro level, then as individuals we treat ourselves by going to the cinema, having our hair done, or buying a small item like a CD or a pair of shoes. So the businesses involved in entertainments and selling those small items always do well in recessionary times. What I want to impress upon you is this. There is always a way to create riches if you plant enough wealth seeds in enough different areas. Truly wealthy people understand that to create secure wealth, they need to be invested in different spectrums and different marketplaces. They create diversity and balance, and so can you. We have to balance our investments in order to be safe. So if we take share prices and property prices over the last 100 years or more, they both give a similar return of about 10% per year. But they increase at different speeds and in different ways. So invest in them both to avoid risk, to protect your assets and to increase your returns. So now we have covered the first 5 principles, we can start to look at the bigger picture, because principle number 6 is about long-term regularity and application of the principles over time. So it's about perseverance and keeping going.
Well, I have watched hundreds of people over the last 3 or 4 decades now try to get rich quick. And There are occasions that people do that, but most of the people I know who develop fortunes are methodical, they're strategic, they're patient, they have long-term vision. In fact, I even say that long-term vision pays, immediate gratification cost.
You see, it's not timing the market that is important, it's time in the market that is important. That's a huge distinction, because people always try and time the market. Now is a good time to get in, or no, I think I'll just wait because it might come down a little bit more. And you know, I've got to tell you, that is very, very difficult. What you need is time in the market.
Becoming wealthy is based on the law of cause and effect. The law of cause and effect is a law. It says that if you do certain things in a certain way, you get certain results. And people who are financially successful simply follow the tracks of other people. They learn everything they need to know about their field, and they never stop learning. They apply it over and over again, and surprise, surprise, as a result of hard work, usually extended over years, they become wealthy. It's not a miracle. It's not a matter of luck. It's a matter of simply hard work in a continuous way in a certain direction.
Don't put all your money in at the same time. That's very important. And that's where dollar cost, pound cost, euro cost averaging comes into play. So you just put a small amount in, and if it goes up, you put another amount in next month. If it goes down, you put the same amount in the month after that, and you keep doing that. And what happens is when the inevitable turn comes in the market, you'll be absolutely happy that you did it. A note of caution with this strategy: you can't do this with individual stocks, just in case that stock goes to zero, and then you've been putting money in every single month, and all your money's gone. So what we want to do is we want to do this strategy in something like the property market, which won't go to zero because people need to live in properties. Or you can do it in something called an index. And an index in the stock market is just, let's take an example, the Dow Jones is made up of 30 different stocks. Those 30, it's unlikely they're going to go to zero. Okay, so you can do it in that, but don't do it in individual stocks.
Consistency is key. I'll give you an example. Let's just say you've put on a few extra pounds around the midsection of your body. You don't go to the health club just once and expect to have that washboard abdominal region once again. It's just not going to happen. It's consistency, it's diligence, and it's that pursuit of excellence again and again and again over a long period of time. True success takes time. It takes a consistent approach, and it takes the right mindset at the beginning and throughout the process and as you go on. And guess what? When you think you arrived, you didn't. There's another level. And guess what? When you think you arrived again, you didn't. There's another level. You grow, you learn, you proceed, you benefit, you prosper.
Hats off to you if you can get rich quickly. Why not? But the reality is, for most people, it's a growth situation. It's something that takes a while. We've all heard about these overnight successes, right? You know, Madonna even talks about it. She says, yes, I was an overnight success that actually took 10 years. So I'm a 10-year overnight success. And you know what? The reality is, most people who are rich did not get rich overnight. They built their businesses. They built their investments. They built it over time. And that is critical.
I would say that the best and the easiest way to become wealthy is to go out and do it, and to work hard, work long hours. I don't know an alternative way of doing it.
The top tip for becoming wealthy is to set it as a goal, to write it down and to make a plan, and then learn everything you can possibly learn about your field, and then go to work. And be prepared to work hard for a long time. But especially as you begin working, be flexible. Be open to new ideas. Be willing to make new plans. Be willing to accept changes in the economic environment and bounce back and try something else. But above all, resolve that you'll never quit. No matter what happens, you'll just keep on going until you achieve your goals.
Another crucially important point is that if you're like most people who have achieved large early success, you're going to make some of the dumbest investments that anyone in history has ever made, the way that I have done. So you're going to lose some of your money. So it's going to be nice to be able to replenish it and keep making it by continuing being a successful entrepreneur. In other words, no one bats 1,000. Not I, not anyone, no, especially any wealthy person. So I think it's very important to just stay in the game.
Oh, I've had more failures than I've had successes in my life.
Failure is simply a part of the system. The system essentially says that if you're going beyond what you know, then you're going to discover what you don't know, and in the process of doing that, you're going to be caught short. So invariably, we fail. Invariably, we fail to achieve what we set out to do, only to discover that there's another way to do it. And so failure is a part of the process of success. There is no success without failure.
Booker T. Washington has this incredible quote. It says, "It doesn't make a difference how successful you are. You're not measured by your accomplishments. You're only measured by what you went through to get there."
We always fail. We fail all the time. I failed just yesterday. I don't know about you, but the point of it is very, very simple. Just accept it. Accept it, even when it's the most difficult thing to accept, that you will fail. The question is whether you stop there when you do.
Circumstances are temporary. They're completely temporary. It's what we do with the circumstance, how we think and speak into our future, and what we want to create. And then we take the gold and the learning and the lesson out of that and bring it with us into the next experience. So yes, of course, you're going to fail. You're going to be challenged, and take that as an opportunity instead of a failure.
Anybody who's a master at something is consistent with it over and over and over again. They have a system and they keep doing it over and over and over again. It's not trying something new every day. Would you like to know the difference between mastery and mediocrity? It's very simple. Mediocre people do 100 things one time each. And masters, what do? They do one thing 100 times. Very simple. Do you want to be a master or do you want to be mediocre?
The fastest way I know to get wealthy is go and do a massive service to a massive number of people. When you do, you can get wealthy. But in the meantime, I recommend a consistent, accelerated savings and investment strategy over the long haul. That's the one that has built the most fortune for the most people through history.
Everyone who succeeds in their own business usually fails over and over again before they find the right combination of product, service, markets, finances, sales methodologies, and so on. But there's no way to ensure or guarantee your success except by yourself. And the way you do it is you decide in advance that no matter what happens, you will learn from every experience, you will benefit from every setback, and you will never give up. The one way to guarantee your success is to resolve in advance that you will persist until you succeed. And if you make that decision, I can guarantee you that will put you on the side of the angels.
So you need to persevere, but be flexible enough to review and change your plan where necessary. Because even if you're on the right road, you will still get run over if you just sit there. Because time and circumstances may overtake you and make your strategies unprofitable. So keep on keeping on.
If you want to make money quickly, I don't know, go and rob a bank.
You may have heard the quote, "The more I practice, the luckier I get." Well, it's just as true for you and your money. The more you invest and the more regular your investment, the more you will make over the long term. So remember, pound, dollar or euro cost averaging actually works. Otherwise known as buying little and often, it works well especially in fluctuating markets, and it reduces the risk and the effort when investing.
We are now nearing the end of our journey, and this seventh and final secret is the most difficult but the most rewarding to learn. It's the concept of passive income flows and passive profits. But what we're aiming at is the flow of money into our purse from land and property, share tradings and businesses, all without any physical effort from ourselves, because it flows to us via a process or system of wealth that we have created.
The biggest problem most people have is simply this: they trade their time for money. Now, why is this a problem? Because of wealth rule number 1, which states you can never have a ceiling on your income. And if you are trading your time for money, what do you automatically have? You have a ceiling on your income. Simple. There's only 24 hours a day, and even if you worked all of them, if you got paid for your time, you could never earn enough money to create wealth.
Passive income or passive investment income would be monies that is received from things you've invested in. Now, this could be something you're just from a simple savings account that's earning just a little bit of interest. That's a passive income. This could be from stocks or bonds. That could be a passive income that's coming. It could be from real estate that's getting from rental or possibly accumulation of appreciation of property values. It could be art. It could be music collections. It could be almost anything that can be resold that actually can give you a passive income. So passive income is what you're looking for. You're wanting to have it where you're doing what you love and loving what you do, and you're not doing it because you have to work. You're doing it because you love to work.
When I first started out, I really just wanted to offer my time. And so I was an interior designer and charging on an hourly basis. And then I realized there are only so many hours in the day. I am only going to work, say, 8-9 hours a day before I do pick up the kids and continue my second part of my life. So if you think about it, it's very finite. I only have 8 hours to hopefully consult, to be able to charge a fee. And if I wasn't doing the 9 to 5, which we know we're going to get paid a set salary, and I was working for myself, I knew that I actually had to create more hours in the day. And all of us wish and hope for that. So in order to do that, I thought, okay, well, I'm creating this service. What about doing an online design service? And so where people could ask me questions, and I still charge a fee, but now it's quicker, it's expedited. And then that carried over into design psychology, which is what I specialize in. And then I actually thought, how can I benefit people who are in my same position? So I've created this certification of design psychology so that now I'm educating people to go out and do more education. And so that's just expounded everything that I was able to do on an hourly basis. I'm able to do 5 things in an hour now instead of just 1.
The internet has truly leveled the playing field for all of us. With a well-designed, well-thought-out website, you as an individual working from your home have the same opportunity to earn endless amounts of money as does a large multinational corporation with offices on every continent. It levels everything. And the internet provides the greatest opportunity for passive income. You make the product, you provide the service, you develop the community, and you allow everyone to enjoy it while you enjoy the benefits of earning money while you're not actually working.
Oh my gosh, is this ever important? Why is passive income so important? It's very simple. Without passive income, you can never be free. People slave away all their lives with active income, making money, but having to work for it. Listen, the idea of winning the money game is very simple. Being able to live the lifestyle you desire without having to work. Being able to live the lifestyle you desire without having to work. That's the definition of winning the money game. So, do you have to be rich? Well, rich is nice, but I'll tell you what, for my money, free is better.
Let's talk about passive income, where everybody gets really excited because it evokes images of us being on the beach in Hawaii and Honolulu, and all this money is pouring down on us. But the challenge is, of course, is that we have to do something once, and then you get paid again and again and again. So you might have to buy that property and you might have to give it a lick of paint once, and then you get paid a rental again and again. Or you might have to write that book once and then you get paid royalties, or just one invention and you get paid again and again and again. But you do have to do something before you get passive income.
So there's many different ways to create passive income. You could start a business, you could use investments, you could invest in the stock market or in the foreign exchange market or in the property market, or you could use royalties. You could get royalties for the songs that you write, the books that you write, the artwork you create, whatever the case may be. How do you know what's right for you? Well, the path that's right for you is the one that you resonate with the most, the one that gets you the most excited, and the one that's in line with your passions, because that's the one you're actually going to do.
The most successful business people design a formula or a system for success. Then they replicate it and extend their formula worldwide. Experience and practice of all the secrets we've outlined will reveal a system that works for you, whether it's managing a property or investment portfolio, a clever invention, or a high street business. Your final task is to teach that system to somebody else so that they can do the hard work for you. Then you can sit back and watch the money flow as your riches grow.
Well, here I am back in London, and we're also back in the East End. And although we're only a few short miles from where I was born, we've travelled an immense distance in terms of knowledge and beliefs and behaviours, moving from the poor to the rich mindset. We have also completed an extraordinary journey across continents, across time, and across civilizations to discover that there are common traits and fundamental laws of wealth. The Babylonians knew it, the Romans knew it, the Greeks knew it, and we know it today. We can identify the formulas that are most likely to make us financially successful in whatever we do. These principles are simple yet effective. They actually work. And we now also know that every major wealth creator in the world uses these same principles in slightly different ways in their own situations and circumstances. Here we are back in the street where I was born. We have travelled far, and yet you need to keep on travelling, because it is when you act on your knowledge that you become truly successful. It is when you apply what you have learnt that you truly achieve your potential. And it is when you advance with secure and positive steps towards riches that you become truly liberated and powerful. I wish you health, wealth, and happiness. What you need to do to start your own personal journey to riches is to begin now. In order to make this work for you, I have created templates to go with each principle or secret, which you can find on our website, which is www.richesthemovie.com.